and share with us what your thoughts are. And I'm not sure if we're going to hear you all the way from the back, but...
Oh, I will. You know, you mentioned stop borrowing and stop spending. The time that we had, the way I see it, I could be wrong, seems to be 29 to 29 all over. Then the 30s came, they stopped spending and stopped borrowing, and the whole world went broke. You know, to me, it's more important to keep people working and keep producing. Money means nothing. Money is just a piece of paper, like newspaper I get every day. It's a junk mail. It's just a medium of change. But productivity counts. And how do you create productivity if people stop spending and keep borrowing to build an infrastructure? How do you do that? Maybe.
Oh, okay. I was there in the 30s, in the depth of depression. That's the year I was born, and my folks were subsistence farmers through that period. What happened in 1937 was a man ran for Parliament, and he succeeded. And his campaign was to nationalize the bank, so we would have our own bank. His name was William Lyon Mackenzie King. And whatever else you think about him, he done good. Our own bank financed with no serious inflation the entire war and the entire post-war developments till 1972. That's what I want to have happen, because my infrastructure, my health facilities, my educational facilities, my parks, and my national debt could all be handled without any interest. Okay? So it isn't that no money would be spent, it's just that you wouldn't be spending, you wouldn't be buying bottled water, say, or all the other kinds of nonsense that we're coerced into. And so this would be the key thing in the, this is one of the unique things in the Canadian Action Party, is using our bank. Right now it doesn't create hardly any money at all. It could be creating all the money that the government spends. And it could take over the national debt. Holus bolus, yes. So instead of paying 7%, which is what we pay now, it all goes to bankers, and it's all compound interest. It's over 90% compound interest because of what happened back in the late 70s and early 80s. So this is my answer to your question. And William Lyon Mackenzie King, I was going to say, I guess I did say, whatever you hold against him, you can't deny he done good. He did the right thing. And this won't happen in the United States unless you have a courageous person in charge and well protected by trustworthy Secret Service. Because Abraham Lincoln was assassinated for this reason. Harrison was assassinated for this reason. John F. Kennedy was assassinated for this reason. You don't believe me? Go and check the executive order signed by JFK in June of 1963 and see when it was rescinded. What the order said was, the government is to create the currency, not just the coins, the currency. It was rescinded on the way back to Washington on Air Force One by the next president, whose name was Lyndon Johnson. And it's taken you all these years to figure out why Kennedy was assassinated? And you believed all those years that Harvey Oswald did it with 3 bullets from the same gun from the wrong direction? Huh? Huh? Hey, if you do, you're going to believe that 19 hijackers from another part of the world that didn't know how to fly a plane suddenly crashed into 3 towers, well, 2 towers crashed into, and the other one fell on its own accord, September 11th in 2001, and that nobody stood down on it. They were short of fuel that day, so the fighter planes didn't fly very fast. The FAA was out to lunch all morning. In the afternoon, they landed 3,000 planes, all right. And that this hole in the Pentagon that wasn't big enough for anything more than a missile actually took on a airliner that went through all these configurations. You believe that? Welcome to it. But some people didn't. And Thierry Misson in Paris, he wrote a book immediately about the Pentagon, The Big Lie, en français. Sold 300,000 copies on day one. Okay, there's a guy you might be able to trust, I don't know, if you're in that part of the world. Yeah, you dare to dissent, you see? Look at the data, look at the data, look at the data. And when you do that, this is what David Griffin has done, and Ian Woods with the Global Outlook. No wonder Murdoch doesn't want this to appear. Nobody wants this to appear. We're too happy with not knowing, or accepting the stupid explanation of what couldn't happen. You know, the telephone call from the cell phone that was further up than the technology would allow it to be heard on the ground. Huh? And so on and so on. Just look at the data, and that's on that one. But I'm saying on the bigger one, yeah, be well-based and stand by your guns, and watch your back, maybe. Because, yeah, here you go.
I'd like to go back to your opening statement when you were talking about Joseph Stiglitz and actually about several countries dumping trillions of dollars into the world financial system. Why? Like, who was it and why? And what did
okay, the European Central Bank.
Stand to gain from it?
The European Union has a central bank in where is it? Brussels. Yeah. And it's owned by other banks, you see. So they see that they get rescued in the same way as the banking system in the United States gets rescued by the Fed. The Fed provided $20 billion twice in December, then $30 billion twice in January, and then it went on from there. Then they opened the discount window, which means the banks could borrow for 1.5%, like less than the federal funds rate. And then they had an auction on money going in, and nobody bid very high on interest rates, and they put a limit on how much of that. But that's the trillion I'm talking, $500 billion that went in that way. And I'm not counting what came from the wealth, the sovereign wealth, the oil companies, Singapore, Southern Korea, China, Dubai, what's the Saudi Arabia guy, the prince that is a multi-billionaire. He bought into Citigroup a long time ago, and there it is at half-mast or worse, and so he put some more money in, but it's gone down 50% since he did that. Anyway, I'm not counting that. So this won't rescue the banks. No.
In 1999, the Bank of England reduced half of its stock of gold to better to market. The Federal Reserve Bank, which has nothing to do with the federal government, nor does it have any fractional reserves since 1913, just keeps compounding everything into debt for new generations. There's a very good Google video. It's called Money is Debt, and it completely shows the whole inception of monetary system, right from trading, barter system of feathers and rocks into fractional reserves. It shows how the fractional reserve was systematically reduced into smaller fractions until 1946, when there was no more